Welcome to Mobile Studios. So we're going to be looking at Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm using version 2020 in this online course to teach you this lecture when it comes to Adobe Premiere Pro. So in order for you to follow, to understand greatly what we're going to be talking about in this online course, I'm going to ask you to have install in your system version 2020 or version 2019 or version 2021. Simply being these three versions I just explained to you, the three of them have similar um, properties on the screen, similar interface on the screen. So that's why I will urge you to install the version. I just, so don't use version 2015 or 2017 or 2018. There are some changes that if you follow, except you are really smart, else there are some things that I might be calling up on my screen here that you might not see on your screen. Now you just saw me launch in this section, sorry, in this section I'm going to be teaching you the interface. I'm going to explain to you the interface of Adobe Premiere Pro, and for starters I'm going to be very direct on the most important areas that you need to know or you need to learn when it comes to for starters. I'm going to be teaching you what you need to learn as a beginner. I'm going to explain to you the areas that concerns you so much or that you need to focus more on as a beginner on when it comes to video editing using Adobe Premiere Pro. And in case you don't know what Adobe Premiere Pro is, Adobe Premiere Pro is one of the number one, let me use the word number one, industry standard or editing software in the whole world. And one thing that makes Adobe standard is simply because it's responsive. The software is very responsive. You can manipulate it any way you want to get what you want. So if you are installing your own version for the first time, you will not see this interface you are seeing right now on my own. You will not see this. You might just see three interfaces that will tell you welcome and new project or just something new. Well, don't worry, it's so the same thing over here. Now the reason why you are seeing all this on my own screen is because once you start doing a job or start making projects on Adobe Premiere Pro, every project you create, Adobe will always leave them on your startup screen so that you can continue from where you stop, and it will tell you the date and the last time or the time that you last worked on that project, which you can see on my screen right here right now. You can see I started working on this one yesterday. This one told me 3 days ago, which is my content. This other project NCCC, it tells me 5 days ago was the last time I touched this project. While this slideshow said it was last month I touched it. This other one 2 months ago. So that's it. It keeps this order like this to show you. So as you just launch the software, you know that this is the one you're working on, and you can just kick it up from. So to start a new project, you simply click this. You click this new project tab that is showing you right here. Or if you just installed your own, you can see me probably somewhere showing you a new project. Go ahead and click it. Go ahead and click it. So in order not to confuse you concerning this using my own project here to confuse anybody, I'm going to click new project. Mind you, new project. You want to start a new project, you click new project, and this comes up on your screen. This new project interface comes up on your screen. So what do? You see the name bar, the name bar meaning what's the name of your project. What do you want to title this name of your project? Well, I'm going to title it beginner beginner. All right, now this, you don't need to tamper with this except you probably have a folder where you want your raw editing template to be saved into. So this one is automatically created by the software itself once you install it in your system. Drive C, Mobile Studios, Document, Adobe Premiere Pro 14.0. Automatically it's created by yourself. So I will suggest you don't touch anything here except you are a professional and you know how to manipulate these areas. But if you are not and you are just using Adobe Premiere Pro for the first time, please, I beg you, don't touch any of these settings. Just give your project a name, Then what do? You click the OK button, boot up, and show us what we need to see next. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, as a beginner, don't mind this system issue here. My graphic card is combating with the software, which I need to upgrade my graphic card. Now, as you can see, my software interface is completely empty. There's no video to work on, there's no graphics to work on, there's no audio to work on right here. So what are we going to do? Before we start importing the video into this interface or into this software, I would like to say this to you. um, when I started using Adobe Premiere Pro far back 2016 or 2015, I didn't know how to import a video. I was clicking and clicking and clicking everything I could click. I did not know how to import a video, and it was really a little bit embarrassing anyway until I got a hang of it. Now, before we import our video into this into the software, I'm going to explain each of these dimensions to you. As a beginner, I'm going to explain each of these dimensions to you. Now, I'm going to do this. I brought this here. You see my interface has changed, or I'm going to do this. Bring this here. This is what I mean earlier when I said to you that Adobe software is responsive. This thing I'm doing is called responsive because you can move anything anywhere. You can drag and drop anything anywhere and choose to work with it. If you want to connect your computer to a TV, a flat screen TV, you can drag this timeline here to the TV, and it will be showing on the TV as a third editing monitor. It depends on you. Now, again, in case you mistakenly do this, maybe you accidentally move your mouse by dragging something and this thing happens on your screen, don't panic. Don't panic. What you should do, you come to Window, Workspace, come down to Reset to Saved Layout. Just click it once. You see the software brings back everything back to the way they are. So in case you mistakenly use your mouse to click something and it changes the interface of the software, don't feel bad. Instead, like I said, come to Window, Workspace, and Reset to Saved Layout. Reset to Saved Layout. All right. So that's that for that. Now let's explain this interface before we start talking about importing our video. All right, this is your source monitor, which you can see here. Source monitor. We have two monitors here, two monitors, like two screens. We're talking about like two TV screens that you're working on, two of them. So this is your source monitor. This is your program monitor or your main monitor. Why this area you are seeing right here that's empty is called your timeline. Your timeline. This is your source monitor. This is your program monitor. Why this is your timeline. Okay, now I'll explain the source monitor. This section where I saying source or source monitor, I usually call it source monitor because it's like a TV screen, two TV screen. When we start, we'll bring our video into it. This particular program shows you how a particular picture or a video looks like. As in, in other words, let me bring it down to a layman language. This is where you come to check. It's like before you put fish, you buy different fish to cook your soup. Now, before you put each fish inside the soup, you need to check the fish. You need to wash the fish, see if there's worm inside or is bad inside. So this is where you come to check your clip. You know, as camera operators and editors or whatever, when we finish recording our video and we bring them to this editing software over here, we cannot just pack all the video, dump them on the timeline and start editing. You bring in each of them to the source monitor, go through them, check them, look at the quality, look at the action at that particular scene before you bring it into your timeline, which appears on your program monitor. So I hope you understand now. You use the source monitor to check audio, video, or the elements that you are sending to your program monitor. All right, I hope you really understand that. You check, you preview in the source monitor. If the clip is not okay, I believe if you shoot a comedy for someone now, it's not every clip that you shot that you are going to use. It's what happens when we are shooting videos. All videos we shoot is not all of them that we finally use during post-production, which is where we are right now, post-production. So you have to check some of the videos, which one is okay before you send it here, which are now appears here. That's what your source monitor is. So it's not just videos you check, also you check audio, you can also check picture, you can also check elements on this source monitor. All right, so back to this one here right now. This is a program monitor. They work hand to hand with this guy. This is the timeline, this is your timeline. The timeline and the program monitor works together. The timeline and the program monitor works together. Anything you do here appears here. Anything you do here appears here. Any adjustments, correction, or fixing, or upgrade, or editing, or whatever you do here appears on your program monitor, which you are seeing here, program monitor. This program monitor simply means that it is the final output of what you are editing or what you are working on. So any way you see your video looks like here, any way you see it appears right here, that is how it will appear when you finally export it. That is how it will appear. That's why it's called your program. So it's your final destination screen. This is your preview screen, this is your final destination screen. Now, like I said, the program monitor and the timeline works together. Nothing appears here that will not be here. Anything that will appear on the program monitor must first of all appear on the timeline. Now let's come to the timeline. The timeline is one of the most important area in Adobe Premiere Pro for editing. This is where you slice, you dice, you trim, you edit, you cut off, you add, you subtract, all the whole magic you do on your video. This is where you do it. But this particular video you are watching right now will be edited on this place too before is going to be sent out. All right, so this is it. This is your timeline. Like I said, your timeline is simply where you bring your raw edited videos on, you edit them, you remove audio, you change background, you add sound effects, you add visual effects, audio effects, everything you see, you talk about. This is where they are all happening. This is where they are all done. All right, and also in addition to that, this works with your timeline. These are the tools that goes hands to hands with the timeline. This is your drag tools. This is what you put your mouse close to it, you see it's going to show you what it is called. Sorry, I don't know why it's not popping up on my screen. I'll bring this down. The track tools, you can see you track your audio or your video to trim them in or trim them out. Same thing here. Your repo tools, there are other tools hidden on each of them. All you just have to do is click and hold for like 2 seconds and they will pop out. All right, this is your eraser tool. Is on its own, it doesn't have any extra elements in there. Your eraser tool, then each of them has, we'll work with them as we progress. This is your text tool, this is your hand tool, you can use to move elements. I call them elements. Anything you add on your timeline, I call them elements. All right, so that's a hand tool. It's not for active right now because there's nothing to work with right here. This is your pen tool, and you can use to adjust audios and probably videos, motions, and others. All right, let me drop that down. Let me shift this. This is why I told you Adobe is very beautiful. You see what I just did? You can move this in, you can move it any way you want. You can adjust your timeline any way you want. That's why Adobe is very, 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 very sweet to use. Now let's come to the properties section or the projects section. This is another key, most important area in Adobe Premiere Pro video editing tools. This is where all your projects, including the video you're working on, to the audio, everything, every element you're going to think about, this is where they all come into play. This is where they all come into play. You put them here and you guess what, you start working on them. Your video, your audio, your graphics, your text, everything you're going to see, this is where they all come into play. So we don't have anything right now, so we can't work on anything. We have the browse bar. You can from here access your hard drive, your folders, and start importing your clips into the background. This is your library. This is the info, every element you're working on, the picture, the video, anything you touch with your mouse in this project area here brings us this information here. Then we also have the effects section. This effect contains all the magic you see most times. The preset song, this preset area here simply means the preset, the plugins you install into the software. It didn't come with the software. Anything preset is not something that came with the software. It's the Adobe Premiere Pro software. It means your own custom plugins that you downloaded online or you bought online that you can use to spice up your videos apart from using the one that came with Adobe Premiere Pro. All right, they will also have lumetri presets, so many cool presets that are here depending on how much you want to go on. Then we'll come deeply into these guys later. Our markers, we have history and beginners. All right, okay, so I hope if you are watching this class and you're actually really following. Now let's come to this area here. I'm going to explain just the ones that I believe as a beginner you really need to focus your attention on. So we have the editing section, which is you're already seeing highlighted in blue. Editing section, which is where we are right now. This complete surface we are right now is called editing section. But if you want to color correct your video after editing, you're done and you want to color correct the video, you simply click the color section and you watch Adobe within a few seconds change the interface into a color correction interface. So your color palette will all appear here. Your color palette will all appear here. So you start doing your magic on your video. Then if you want to add effect to your video, you simply click this one. It's similar to the same effect that we have here. You know that here it becomes more broader, so more tools appears that you can work with to tweak your video to the way you want. Then we come to graphics, essential graphics. This is a new feature in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's not there in version 2015, it's not there in version 2016, and it's not there, I don't think it's there in version 2017. So this is a new feature because Adobe came to realize that mind you, it's not necessarily new because it got it's from version 2018, I believe. From version 2018 to 2019 down, they start infusing this part. Now they came to realize that when you are editing your content or your video in Adobe Premiere Pro, there are a lot of fusion that comes into this editing, and a lot of time going to After Effects to create fancy text and beautiful text, then bringing them to Adobe Premiere Pro takes a lot of time. So that's my own take on this. They created the essential graphics. There is the graphics section in the older version, but it is not as sleek and beautiful and nice like this current version. So this essential graphics right here now brings to you very good beautiful graphics that you can add to your video to make the video look more scintillating, more beautiful, more nice, more beautiful. So many good things you can find here. Now another sweet thing again about this is you can go to the internet, which in this course will also explore those areas. You can go to the internet and look for free essential graphics. There are lots of them online. You can download them into your computer. Come to After Adobe Premiere Pro, come down here and click this particular guy you can see over here, this one you see here. You click it and you can search inside your computer as in where you downloaded the one you got online and install it into Adobe Premiere Pro. It comes here and you can use it on your video. You can use it to work on your video. So I will say it's a beautiful thing for the Adobe software. Right, I will skip the libraries area because not necessarily you need all those ones. The most important one for you is graphics, effect, color, and editing. All these ones are just some other cool things that if you want to go in depth, you can check more on them. But I'm going to focus on the ones I believe concerns you the most. So, like you already know, anyone you click changes the interface of your software. So when you are done, the default one is always editing because you always want to touch your video. So that's that for this area in the editing software. We'll come to this later. Let's look at this menu, these guys over here. I'm going to explain a couple of the things again. Like I said, in this class, I'm just simply going to focus on the things that I believe that matters a lot to you. If you know you want to go deep, 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 and very, very deep, like I keep saying, editing is not something you can just learn in a day and you're done. If you want to learn more, you get to explore the internet, or you get someone that can be coaching you more to be good. That's how I became good on my own too. So let's look at this guy now. The file menu. If you click any of them, they drops down menu for you, or sub menus, any way you want to call it. So if you click the file menu, this drops down. If you click the edit menu, this drops down clip, sequence, markers, graphics, everything. And sometimes most of the things that are inside here are what you have here and are what you have here. All right. So let's come to the file menu. What do we have? You have the new. If you want to create a new project, you can see new project, production, sequence, bin. Bin is like a folder. Search bin, project shortcut, offline file, adjustment layer, legacy title, Photoshop file. Just so many things that you need when you are editing your video. That's what you also have in the file menu. As we progress in the class, I will explain most of them for your understanding. So you have like the most important one for me to you is you come down to new project. You can see different things here. Is you want to start a new project again? Maybe you are working on this one, you want to start a new one, simply click new project to do that. And the bin is like creating a folder. Adjustment layer, will talk about this later on. Bars and tunes, black videos, captions, and color, every one of them. And then you want to save your video to where inside your system. Close up project, okay, capture from the camera. Yeah, Adobe link to the Adobe other software. We are not going there right now. Import, this one is very key when you want to import video into the software. You want to import video into your software. All right. Export, you want to render your video. Where are you rendering it to? Where are you sending the video to? Are you sending directly to your computer, or you created a motion and a motion graphics and you want to export it as a motion graphic template, or you want to send it to a captioning device or a tape or EDI, OMF? Well, none of all these ones I would say for me matters to me right now, or message should matter to you. This is the one we're going to focus on as we progress in this class. So if you come to the edit section, you will see the similar things. Undo in case you made a mistake during your editing, or redo in case you just lost something and you want to bring it back. Cut, if you are into computer, you touch computer a lot, you should have idea about these guys, these functions. Cut, you want to cut out a particular clip or audio completely. Copy, paste, and paste, insert, paste attribute. We'll look at these as we progress in each of these class. So I just want you to understand what is under each of these menu. You have the clip section. You want to rename a file, make a subclip, source setting, audio options, render in and out, replace clip. We have a sequence. We want to render a specific sequence for preview purpose. You want to correct your audio. You want to fix the audio quality on Adobe Audition, and then check the audio transition from one to the other depending on the kind of project you're working on. You delete a specific works space you don't need. Well, that's that marker. I'm going to skip this in and out. We'll come here, but just a little bit later. Graphics, you want to install motion you want to install essential graphics or motion graphics into the software so you can be working with it as you are working on your project, right? So if you go into Adobe After Effects, well, this place is also cool. View, you want to check the resolution of what you're working on, or you want to drop the resolution for your due to machine render so it can be faster for you to see what you're working on. Yeah, we'll also look at this in the as we progress in this class. Window, this one is another key area apart from the workspace that I explained earlier, where you can come and click reset or save layout in case you mistakenly dragged an icon to where it ought not to be. This place right here contains a lot of functions. In fact, everything that this Adobe editing interface contains, this place right here has it. So in case you are looking for something and you can't find it, or you are looking for let's say okay, let me just keep explaining it. In case you are looking for Let me pick one. Let me pick one. Okay, this effect. Let me uncheck it. You can see effect is here. Favorite media library info effects marker history. All right. So in case one of these guys, okay, let me delete this guy now. Close this panel. Let me also close this guy. Now, in case you are looking for, all right, so in case you're looking for the effect panel now or the history, mind you, the history simply means the um how you import your project, everything you have been doing on a specific project. That history records everything. Whether you added a layer, you added an audio, you added transition, everything you're doing, you cut, you divide, that history records everything. Now you probably might need it on your project, but it's not here, and you just open this new project. It's not here. You should not panic. Anything you don't see here, or you don't see here, or you majorly don't see here or here, that's where you now come to window, you look for it over here. The ones you can see are the ones that automatically the software have checked them for you to to see. So anyone you didn't see there, you just come here and check it on your own, and you can see the history is now showing right here. So that's what, and the beauty part about this area. Whatever you are looking for, you might not see. You just come here, look for it. If you see it, you check it, and it will appear at the specific area where it ought to be. So that is that. The help area is just, well, let's leave this out because it's not necessarily important for us right now. So that's that for the interface about Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners. This is all you need to know about the interface of Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners. The next class, we're going to look at how to import our first clip and how to edit our first clip. Don't do anything until we get there. If you already have knowledge about that, you can start. But we're going to, in our next class, we're going to be looking at how to import our next clip and how to start editing and using each of these interfaces that we'll be talking about more and hence in the class. Thank you for purchasing this course, and see you in the next class.